The ancient Chinese board game Go has been around for nearly 4,000 years, yet it still remains as the most complex board game of all time. The game is quite simple, yet there are over 1 trillion different combinations that are possible on the board. A Go board is a 19 by 19 grid where players place either white or black stones on the board at certain intersections on the grid. There are no limitations to how you can place the stones, and you can place any stone anywhere on an open intersection on any turn in the game. The goal is to block out areas of the grid with only your stone's color without letting your opponent put a stone in the way and block you out. This is really the only goal, and because the board is so big, Go games will never be played alike. 2 Go games will never be identical. This has allowed for a ton of creativity in the game of Go, especially amongst the highest level of players. These players are able to come up with new moves and think pretty far in advance about what their opponent is trying to plan against them and how their opponent wants to play and wants to try to secure the area to win the game. Because of its complexity, Go has always been seen as one of the hardest games that an AI could ever learn to play. With trillions of moves, the game is really hard for a computer to learn. But after about 20 years of attempting, in October of 2015, Google DeepMind put together a team known as AlphaGo to develop a Go artificial intelligence that would be capable of beating the world's top professional players. The team at AlphaGo decided to use what is called a neural network to develop their AI. A neural network is a computer simulation of a neuron essentially in the brain, and it attempts to make connections into the future and learn things essentially like a human brain would. The team at AlphaGo decided to train their neural network using deep learning and machine learning by showing the AI hundreds of thousands of videos of people playing Go and the moves that they chose and whether those moves worked or whether they didn't work. With this information, the AI was able to learn exactly the probability of each move it could make and what that move would change in the game and if it would allow the AI to have a higher percentage of winning. After they felt satisfied with their AI, the team at AlphaGo decided that it was time to have a match with the world's top professional player. At this time, in March 2016, the best professional player in the world was known as Lee Sedol. Lee Sedol had 18 world championships and was considered one of the most brilliant Go players of all time. Lee Sedol was actually favored by many people that doubted the AI's potential and power. But after the first game, AlphaGo defeated Lee Sedol quite easily, and it also won the second and third games by a very large margin. People quickly noticed that the AlphaGo AI was making moves that Lee Sedol was just not capable of understanding because it could see so much further into the future so much faster. And under a 2-hour time limit, Lee Sedol would have had to have been doing calculations for hours to come up with what the AI could come up with in 1 minute and 30 seconds. In the 4th game of the match, Lee Sedol was able to confuse the AI in a way and actually secure the win. He went on to lose the 5th, and the AI also won again in a dominating fashion. But the 4th game proves that the AI still has room to grow. If this AI was able to play more matches against a player of Lee Sedol's caliber, it would easily learn what move he made that confused it and how to counter it in the next match. And essentially, it will get stronger and stronger the more it goes. After defeating Lee Sedol in the 5-game match, the world realized that AlphaGo was the best Go player in the world and that its playstyle was so different than what a human could come up with that they needed to start studying the AI and learning from it. Now, Go players all over the world can use AIs like AlphaGo to learn and make themselves a better player and come up with more creative playstyles and ways to beat other people that might not be utilizing the AI advantage. Go players using AlphaGo is just the first step in humans using AI to make our world a better place. We can start using AI to do research that humans could never do or would take thousands and thousands of years to do it, and using a good enough computer, AI could compute something like that in a few minutes. Hopefully the story of AlphaGo can just be one of many great AI milestones that we hit in the next 100 years and hopefully 1,000 years as well.